For the second year in a row, Ohio State kicks off their season facing in-state opponent Kent State, but coming off a national championship dub. This is going to be a tough game for Coach Ty and Kent State, debuting a whole lot of new players, both the offensive and defensive side. And it starts at the running back spot with senior transfer Joquez Smith coming in from Memphis. He is an east-west playmaker, originally from Tampa, Florida, and he'll be the team's fastest running back with good acceleration. Elusiveness is his game. With the Tigers last season, he averaged 4.5 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns, 827 total yards. And on top of that, he did sprinkle in a few receptions as well. Teaming up with him will be the transfer from Colorado State in Jalen Dupree, the redshirt junior. He is the elusive bruiser-style back, and for Coach Ty this year, he plans to use him as both a handed-off running back and a little bit of fullback in the triple option. The speed is not that high at the 85, 88 acceleration, but he brings some power to the group with some decent blocking. At tight end, we have the transfer from Wyoming, also spent time with the Ragin' Cajuns. A physical route runner in Quandre Coates joins Coach Ty at tight end. Now, he is not going to be the fastest of all the tight ends we've had, coming in at 75 speed and acceleration. However, there is good room to improve with a balance of blocking and receiving. And with 4 new offensive linemen, Darren Stray joins us from Kentucky, only a single sack given up last season. Redshirt freshman transfer at right guard will get the start in Jabari Okoye, a well-rounded interior offensive lineman out of Bradenton, Florida. And for the first time this series, we have a new starter at center in Trent Norton Jr., a great name for NASCAR, but he's coming in instead as our starting center. And transferring in from Penn State, he only allowed 4 sacks last season. And for the final new transfer from Purdue, Marquise Easley. He'll get the start at left guard, another raw strength interior lineman with star development. And while there is a good bit that is capped, he still has some room to improve. New starter this year, though not a transfer, is gonna be Jaiheen Roy, a 3-star recruit. And while he may not be the highest overall player, there is a duality to his play. And in his limited time last season, he did pick up a single sack. And joining him just inside will be the transfer from Georgia Tech in Bobby Ellington. 337 pounds and 6'6" star dev. He has the potential to be a do-it-all interior lineman for us and wreak some havoc. And then the second level of the defense, another young transfer in is Von Ingle, the redshirt freshman. With star dev already an 84 overall, he could cover, he could help stop the run, he can do it all. But a massive weakness for this team last year was the cornerback group, so Keyshed Scott joins. And he's another player we took from Kentucky. 21 tackles last year, 1 TFL, no interceptions. We're hoping this senior can provide some smooth coverage across the board. He has impact dev, and he has both man coverage and some zone coverage with a whole lot of quickness. Another transfer that we'll see fighting for some playing time is Key Crowell. He's a bump and run style. However, the zone coverage is not where it needs to be, so he's fighting for playing time currently in the slot. And your final transfer starter is Quentin Reddish, the senior safety. He transfers in from Vanderbilt, spent time with Virginia Tech. He comes with 2 career interceptions, a couple TFLs, and a whole lot of tackles. And he'll be teaming up with Colin Gill, who returns as this team's defensive captain. And another returner given that captain's patch is going to be Syed Abu Hamde. He was a starter with us day one. He's seen a lot of progression up to an 81. And we just got to hope he could stay healthy this year, because he could stop the run, he could intercept a pass, and we already know he could sack a quarterback. Jair Allison also returns, a starter again for Coach Ty since day one. He has seen a lot of progression. The speed has definitely gone up. He will be cornerback 2 this year. And for Angelo Stockstill, who was picked on last year, he will still see playing time. But this year he is moving down to the slot, as the speed is not there, but he's a solid tackling corner. We should also see a little bit more of another transfer in linebacker Seth McFarland, who originally chose to go to Ball State, was a late transfer in here for Coach Ty. He just does not quite have as good of ratings as Abu Hamde and Ingold, but he does bring some experience from Air Force. Last season, seeing a bit more playing time, 32 tackles, 5 for a loss, and half a sack. Elijah Fall steps into his senior season as another interior defender for us, 285 pounds. He is one of the leading sackers from last season, returning to this team. The only one rivaling him is Brenton Bush. And last year, he won 2 MAC Defensive Players of the Week. He finished the year with 9.5 sacks, 18 TFLs, and an interception. And that was good to see his dev trait boost up to impact. There's still a little bit of room for him to improve, but we need to rely on him this year. The only returner for the offensive line is Nair Daniels, now a junior, still with that impact dev trait. He did a great job last year of holding down the blind side. We need more of that. And he'll be protecting our starting quarterback in Mason Kelsey. For the first time under Coach Ty, he steps into a season with a quarterback who has already started for him. And he was a playmaker last year, 3,200 passing yards, 30 touchdowns. He also very much got involved in the running game, averaging 5 yards a carry with 9 more touchdowns. Joining him, you have Tank Hawkins, Ivan Carrion, and your starter in the slot, Harry Hassman, who did see some playing time last year. He stuck around. He saw some good growth. But he's going to be fighting Tank Hawkins, who is a well-decorated player. Originally from Florida, he won an SEC championship before coming to Kent State, where he won the Bolitnikoff last season. He won the MAC Offensive Player of the Week 5 times and your National Offensive Player of the Week twice. But we open up our season against Ohio State, who won a national championship last year, just 2 years removed from their previous. And they still have quite a few familiar names on a roster. And that includes their captain in Julian Sayin. And we are not receiving votes despite finishing in the top 25 last season. But this team is on the rise, and for the first time in potentially Kent State history, they step into the year with an overall above a 70. So as we take the field in Columbus, Ohio, looking to kickstart Season 3, we begin a gauntlet of non-conference games with a big boot from Ulrich, who will be the kicker this year. It will be returned and getting by 1, but not the following 2. The 16 will be where Coach Ty's defense meets Julian Sayin and the Ohio State Buckeyes. With how last year ended for this Kent State team, I'm sure they are hungry, but a lot of new players joining. Are they going to bring the same passion that those returning have? With motion across, make that a trip set to the right-hand side. Sayin will look to leak out. He's got space, sliding down cleanly. A gain of 14 for Julian Sayin to the 30. As the Buckeyes go play action, and they've got another gain. This time, make it 17. Coach Ty perhaps getting caught being a bit aggressive there, sending the early blitz. Sayin so far perfect in his reads, as they will continue looking to go to the air here. Looking downfield, and this is gonna be a touchdown for Porter. A quick drive here from Ohio State. They had several receivers deep downfield, and it only looked like there was one player back to cover in Gill. Well, that's just why it's going to be vitally important that we get some pass rush going. And with the crowd pulse against us, we take the field at the 25. Kelsey, returning as the starter, flips this one out to the new player in Smith, the senior. He weaves through and finds the first down for Kent State. Now, they did find quite a lot of success last year with Harris. He did choose to move on. New starter back there as they do hand it off. It looked like there might have been some confusion on the play call. Coy Beasley picks up the TFL as they go to the air here in no time. Immediate rush down the middle. Of course, though, 4 new starters on the offensive line. They've got to work their way in and learn how to play with each other here. It's not going to be easy in these kind of scenarios. Rolling out here, Kelsey tries to find the edge but comes up short. But surprisingly, that doesn't look to stop the offense as they stay on the field. A hard count. If they snap the ball, they might have had something there. Looks like he's trying to get a call out there to Hawkins, but I'm not sure he can hear him. They'll snap that ball here anyway with a good man coverage and throwing this one downfield off the hands of Carrion. And that's a turnover on downs. Risky out the gate here, Coach Ty being aggressive. Ball back over to Ohio State as they go with the play action, faking the end around, and they find their target downfield. Really unfortunate too. It looked like Abu Hamde read it well, breaking one but not getting away. Speaking of Abu Hamde, involved there on the tackle, Hargreaves has his first carry of the season, picking up 6. They go back his way, and a teammate takes out a fellow teammate. And the transfer in Bobby Ellington is down. He was brought in to try to shore up that run game. Now they're going to have to hope Nelson can step up here. On a 3rd and short, it is Roy. Big stop there for the first game starter, but Ohio State's offense is not leaving the field. It's 4th and 3 at the 23. They will go to the pass here. They got a tight end open, but it is a sack coming in from Von Ingold. And it's now back-to-back turnover on downs, 1 for each team. 29 is where we get our next drive started. Setting up a screen to the outside for Smith. He's got space, 15 and out of bounds. With the defense picking up that big stop, they need their offense to come through with some big points of their own here. Hawkins in motion. They will swing it out to him in space as he turns upfield, flying overs 23. And we'll see him put an end to that run. But a first down here for Kent State. As they hand it off, it's Dupree for 1. Actually, check that, make it a loss of 1 on the play. So going backwards here, Kent State. 2nd and 11, Carrion in motion. As they go back to that RPO, Hawkins with the block, and the big fellows rumbling, all 6'6", 230 pounds, to the end zone. The transfer from Oklahoma 2 off seasons ago ties up the ball game here against Ohio State. And once again, gives some love to Tank Hawkins, throwing the body and picking up the last block needed. Now, last year in the opener, Kent State played well the first about quarter and a half. They did not continue. But now with so many new transfers in from Power 4s, they're hoping they can play a little bit tighter the rest of this one. However, it seems like Hargreaves has some other things in mind with big run, play 1. And they're back his way here, just following the blocks. Very patient running so far for Ohio State as he do go play action here, and under pressure, it's Brenton Bush. He got off the quick bump and release from the tight end. We're going to need a whole lot more of that this year. He even found himself in the running for a few awards last year as well. Jalen Thompson, though a little bit higher up on those votings, now has moved on. 3rd and 9 and a chance to get off the field here with a quick stop. Instead, airing it out deep. Rollison somehow misses the ball. It looked to go right through him as Porter is back again with a 2nd touchdown here in the first quarter. We're going to have to take a second look at this one. Quincy Porter just with great concentration on where Sayin put that ball. It was coming in high, dropping in fast, and it just looked like Rollison didn't get his head up there. So if one thing stays true from last year, it's deep balls down the left side of the field, but the offense needs to respond. They start with some triple option. Kelsey outside will weave through this defense, and he's got a good first down run. He looks to be a little extra shifty out there to start this season. As they hand this one off, it's Dupree, 2. Not much extra for him that go around. As time running down here, they do snap that ball one last time here in the first quarter and let it rip downfield. Tank Hawkins with the step, and once again, a tie ball game. This one to end the first quarter. That improved arm strength from Mason Kelsey on display there. They nearly found a few deep balls in their last couple games of postseason last year for Kent State, and if they hit those, they might have picked up the win in those ones. That seemingly was the difference. And against Ohio State, they hit a big one. And that Golden Flash student section here was hyped up as the first quarter closes. Starting the second quarter, it is Buckeye ball at the 24. They have trips look now bunch left-hand side. Running back also goes out that way. They find him before a short gain. And going under center here might be the first time for Sayin this year as they set it up to a quick jet sweep denied. Yet again, a big play from Roy, getting his first start. Another 3rd and 9. Before spread either side as they look to set up the screen outside. Ingold forces Hargreaves back inside, but he's got the first with forward progress. For Kent State, well, they're making progress here defensively. They're still not getting that 3rd down stop. Well, the 1st and 10 of the 35 here, Sayin is making a few checks. He has 3 options to the left now with motion out of the running back. Looking downfield, and open is the tight end. Buckeyes now plus side for the 1st and 10. They go with a draw. Running back 2 with space, right sideline. Cutting back in and shaking a few ankles. Rod Page, the freshman, with the carry. Though they're not going to give him goal to go. They're going to say about an inch could be gained. But with the swing out, you're not going to even need to bother with that. Ohio State, with their 3rd touchdown drive of the first half, makes this one 21-14. Martin Cole with the touchdown. Good news for Coach Ty as his offense so far has put up a fight. Once again, they're going to need to find an answer. As it's going to be Kelsey with a straight keeper. He's got center field to midfield. Another big gash in the triple option offense attack. And with this year, with 2 new running backs to help out that group, I'm sure Kelsey's going to find even more ways to attack it as they go right back to that triple option. Though the pitch is wild, Tank Hawkins will recover. He was the intended pitch man. He just got too far upfield. A simple error there. As they do go right back to that triple option. This time, clean pitch, it's Smith. Close. However, coming up a couple yards short leaves 3rd and 2. With 2 spread either side and motion early here. They're going to go speed option, and Kelsey has it. Taking the inside gap. Right now, just trying to find easy, simple plays. Get the job done, and so far they are getting that job done. Back to the RPO and back into the hands of Tank Hawkins. Juking by 2 Ohio State defenders. First down. That has the Golden Flash now surpassing 1,500 career receiving yards. Hopefully with a lot more to come in his senior season. Kelsey in the offense at the 25. Bunch left side. Open tight end on the wheel route, but catching up to swat it away is Stover. That is the transfer tight end. Just does not quite have the same speed as we had with Dakota Taylor last year, and no space there, 2nd and 10. As the bells toll here in Columbus, Ohio, it is 3rd and 9. And that ball gets popped up into the air and falls right into the hands of a waiting defensive lineman. This is where things could very much take a turn for the worse for Kent State. With just under 3 minutes to go, they look to set up the screen and had space outside. However, with the hit applied to Kelsey, that ball just floats up into the air and right into the hands of the defensive tackle. What could have been a first down is now going the other way. And both sides do have 3 timeouts. So we still got plenty of action here in the second quarter. And Hargreaves takes a 6th carry for 5 yards to kick off the drive. They do look to go back to him here. No play action fake. Roy bit hard. And once again, that is Porter slipping the tackle of Gill, who takes Reddish out of the play. And just 2 plays in, Ohio State doubles their advantage coming off the interception. And for Quincy Porter, it's an early hat trick in this one. But for Kent State, you do not have to panic here. You got your timeouts. You got 2:12 to work with here. Just play your game. Get that ball into the end zone. That is not how they mean it. Down at the 1 is how the refs officially mark it. Another errant pitch. And in through the 2-minute warning. Back at the 1, it's Smith with a direct snap to him. He'll take it and pick up what he can. And that'll mean a 3rd and forever here for Kent State. Kelsey barking out a few calls with 3rd and officially 24 at the 5. And he'll just let this one rip again for Tank Hawkins, who's underneath it. The speed again to save the day as he is by Calhoun. And that might be the longest touchdown in Kent State history. 95+ yards. Tank Hawkins empties the tank with his pure speed. And once again, Mason Kelsey putting the arm strength on full display. And while still trailing, Kent State is telling the Buckeyes they are here for a battle. 1:44 still to go here in the second quarter. As they do start with some handoff fakes, it's read option for Sayin for 2. Now, it doesn't seem like they're in necessarily a lot of hurry, but they do come out with an empty set. Check down throw and a bad angle there from Ingold. Stockstill with the tackle. Buckeyes do have 2 timeouts and a little over half the field to work with here inside a minute. As Sayin has time, throws to the flat and can't stay in bounds. Referees will mark that a gain of 1. Hargreaves checks back in. The 2nd and 9. As they send the house, it is out to said Hargreaves. Looking for the sideline. Good tackle from Scott. At least keeps the Buckeyes in the field of play. And that clock will resume as they get set. About 24 seconds and counting. To the flat. Porter stays in bounds. That forces a timeout to be called here for the Buckeyes. Fighting for that extra about yard or 2. And Kent State could really use with a play from the defensive line here. Good coverage downfield will definitely help out. As so far, no one's getting any sort of rush up front. And with that first down, Ohio State calls a timeout about field goal range here for him. 13 seconds to play with. They can take a shot as they pick up every single rusher here. Tight end shaking a tackle, but gets down in bounds. They will have to try to get back to the line quickly here. Check this one into the turf, but they do not have time. Kent State's defense gets away there as they were inside scoring range, but we hit halftime in a close game here. There was one turnover there in the first half for Kent State on a miscue on the screen, just ended up popping up and a player happened to be there. But all in all, Kent State is showing that they are going toe for toe with the reigning national champions in the Ohio State Buckeyes. 28-21 is your halftime score. Tank Hawkins emptying the tank on 2 deep ball touchdowns where he just simply outran Calhoun, who was in good coverage prior to the speed. Sayin out there is really just playing pitch and catch. Kent State's defense needs to tighten the screws and they need to get some rush in the second half. Without that, it's going to be Porter all day long, and he already has 3 touchdowns on the day. But the good news for Coach Ty, his offense has the ball to start this second half. And they're going to go right back to that triple option, this time on the mark. Smith with a good juke. Tries to fight forward, and he'll pick up the gain of 6. Referees do give the forward progress. Dupree joins them here with a 2nd and 4 as they hand it off. Smith on a typical run. And that sets up a 3rd and 2 here for Kent State. They bring out Dupree and Bailey, the true fullback, and a heavy set. They run it left side. Dupree has the first down. Not a whole lot extra there, but the power back gets the job done with a 1st and 10. They do go to the air here and initially look to go downfield, but they check down Harris. Getting a little bit more playing time this year as the receiver was a return man for him last year. 1st and 10. Triple option here. It's back to Kelsey. who flips it out late. Now Smith, he's got the sideline. 20, 10, and defender pushes him out at the 8. Another big triple option run here for Kent State, and it's got the fans of the Buckeyes worried. Kent State once again could look to tie this game up. They're at the 8, as they are going to have motion here. That's going to be the tight end. Coates over to the right-hand side. Now they're also going to have Dupree out in motion, flipping it his way late, and a great open field tackle. Alford, the edge man there for the Buckeyes, makes the play, and that leaves 2nd and goal now at the 9. Dupree again goes in motion, and they'll try it out his way again, this time with space, and the backup running back who plays 2 positions for Kent State gets a touchdown in his debut game, and once again, we find ourselves leveled up here in Columbus. And starting the second half with the ball, that is a great way to kickstart your second half efforts. Now you need the defense to keep this game leveled up. Page in the backfield next to Sayan, who hands it off to him, and he'll get down the middle for 2. Syed Abu Hamde meets him in the gap. The 18-yard line here, Buckeyes with a bunch, breaking that up with the motion as the tight end makes it now twins either side. Quick fire in and picking up the first down. Now this receiver cornerback group is definitely a mismatch here for Kent State. Ohio State runs about 5 deep. Meanwhile, Kent State still learning a lot of their new players as Porter drops it. A rarity for him today. Rollison in coverage there might have just applied enough pressure to throw off his game. 2nd and 10. The motion in. And they will look to go with a strong side run. Greaves finds 6. And that gives Ohio State a far more manageable 3rd down, now just needing 4. Kent State, though, stacking the line. They do drop back into coverage and find their target. Stock still gives up the inside. We'll see as this season goes on how he fits in that role. Of course, they did bring in another transfer corner. Big hit, Roy. He just laid into, I believe that was Page who checked in. Absolutely massive hit. Another play in the backfield for the new starter on the outside. And Ohio State taking their time here pre-snap as they set up a screen. And again, picking up a few extra. And very much tell Kent State going for some of those more low tackle attempts. They're missing some quicker tackles by doing so. The 3rd and 6, and it's Porter again, splitting the safeties. Reddish, though, able to track back. And that at least keeps them still fighting here. With a 1st and goal, Porter denied. Well, he does pick up a few yards, getting them closer. One more for him would give him 4 touchdowns on the day. He's been the Buckeyes' leading target. And here comes the pressure with a late throwaway off the upright. Not quite sure if he was outside the tackle box, but no penalty given. I believe that was Ingold providing the pressure. And a 3rd down here. Throws for the touchdown. 2 guys covering out there, but they just didn't know where the ball was. And Shamir Newcomb gives Ohio State the lead once again. And at some point here today, we're going to need this defense to pick up a stop. And as for now, it's back to the offense, trying to keep this game close. Dupree for 1. He's had 6 carries today, only 15 yards, but he didn't have that receiving touchdown last time. Kelsey checks the sideline here. Inside a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. And he'll just look to step up, avoiding the rush. He slips away for 4. And that leaves Kent State still 5 more needed. They tried that hard count, and Kelsey's gonna get it. The man he slipped on the previous play, who had actually the interception earlier, gives us the 1st down. Not every time do you have to actually snap that ball. Sometimes the voice will do. 1st and 10, about 21 seconds to go here. And again, they bite in on the run, so it's out to Tank Hawkins with a big block. It appeared to be from Carrion. But frankly, that was just a tremendous job by the corner there out in space to get off that block and ultimately send us to the quarter break. 3rd quarter is done and dusted here in a 1-score game still in Columbus of Ohio. Kent State is bringing it to the reigning national champions. And if they can manage to get their defense on the same page as what their offense has been today, will be in store for a big fourth quarter. Starting just inside Ohio territory, it's a heavy set. Dupree breaks through the line and has 9.5. Not quite enough, apparently, for the first down, but 3 hands down in the backfield. It's back to Dupree, and he will just keep those legs chugging. Tacks on an extra couple yards there at the end of that run. The 1st and 10. They're back to that triple option. Kelsey this time keeps it, picks up a block there from Coates and has the first down. Now we'll see him come out in almost an empty set. At the 20-yard line, the hand down in the backfield. This is just going to be quarterback power right down the gut. It's a quick, easy gain of 6 yards for Kelsey, following up with 2 spread. They do look to go to the passing game here. Throws crossbody. Tank Hawkins upended. And frankly, that's just a risky throw. Looked like he had a receiver breaking open to his left. Wouldn't have been the crossbody throw. Tries that hard count again and has a guy jump. Refs, though, do not flag it. And Kelsey's going to leak out to the left-hand side. He's got space to trot in yet again, tying the game here in Columbus, Ohio, 35-35. With 6:47 to go, Kent State is going nowhere. But ultimately, football is a 3-sided sport. You need the offense, you need the defense, and you need special teams. And right now, Coach Ty needs his defense to step up. The 1st and 10. There's a TFL for Stockstill. Ohio State just getting a little too fancy with the play calling there on play 1. Going with a quick throw to the outside. Porter, he's got a gain of 5. And that leaves a 3rd and 7 here for the Buckeyes. 3 options, and once again they go with the inside throw. Nothing here for the Buckeyes has been game-breaking, but they are just running these plays with extreme perfection. And Kent State is not finding ways to disrupt those. With a weak side handoff, Hargreaves, he's got 6. It could also just be the coordinators for the Buckeyes have just done a tremendous job in their play calling, recognizing when the defense is running and making their adjustments. As this time they hand it off Porter. Roy is back again. And Porter celebrating hard here. Actually looks to be a little bit upset. Also looks to head off the field. That'll leave a 3rd and 5 for his team to try to convert and keep this drive alive. They are plus side at the 46. Motion into a tight look here. Saying, with time, finds his target downfield. We said earlier they run deep at receiver. Graham checks in with the injury to Porter and already is picking up a big play here offensively. With a good block, it's Greaves outside and inside the 5. Ohio State has just had no problem getting down the field here today. To either side, and Sane with a spin, opens up and he's got the touchdown. That should have been a tackle in the backfield, maybe even at the line of scrimmage at the worst, let alone a touchdown. With 4 minutes to go here in the 4th, Ohio State regains the lead. And if you're Coach Ty, you might just be thinking a tie game here at the end of regulation might be the best thing. They'll have 3:57 to work with. There's a hard count. Not going to be a free play again. They get the guy to jump, but they're just not getting the calls out there as Kelsey picks it up with his legs. He's close to 100 yards on the ground, let alone through the air. Mark him at 92. As they go back to that triple option, they flip it back. It's to Smith. He looks to angle outside with a gain of about 8. It doesn't seem like they are in any hurry to take some shots down the field right now. Though they might be playing more in their favor as Ohio State plays deep. Not enough. Jalen Dupree is stuffed, and it is a goal line set here with 3rd and half at football length. High form, and it's Bailey. Denied. There's no question. You have to go for it here as we move through the 2-minute break. This could be for the game right here. You got 2 backs in the backfield. Tank Hawkins in motion. They will swing it out to him, and he's got the space. Easy does it there for Kent State. They find every way they can to get Hawkins involved. Already 2 deep touchdowns in this game. as they might be looking to perhaps change to a similar look here. Press coverage is on the outside. Not sure if they're getting the calls they're looking for out there, though, as Kelsey scrambles here. Back to the line. Buckeyes brought the pressure, and it paid off there. No gain. A minute 36 to work with here. As they look to set up the screen, the DT's on it. Ball falls incomplete. Right now you're working with 4-down territory, so you don't need it all here, but you got to pick up something. Or get a hard count now. Does not look like they're going to give this one in favor of Kent State. Instead, they call it on Kent State. Nair Daniels, the one returner for this offensive line from last year, makes it 3rd and 15. They try the hard count, and this will be a free play, which they're going to need because they just take the sack. They'll pick up the 5, and we'll go 3rd and 10 again. We're back to the 43. Kelsey comes out with 2 spread either side. They'll look to throw this ball here, or Kelsey will look to step up, but cannot evade. No gain. And once again, you're facing a 4th and potential gain here as the clock moves inside a minute to go. They try that hard count. Does not work. Quick pressure. And that ball is airmailed. A second turnover on downs here for Kent State, and it comes at a crucial time. Ohio State, though, they're going with a quarterback draw, saying outside. That is risky, but he's down safely. Coach Ty, those obviously going to call their timeouts. But a limited time left in this game. At the 38-yard line, saying right side. And he stays up, but again, he holds on. With only 1 timeout left in that back pocket, Ohio State and Julian Sayin will kneel this one out. Kent State went toe for toe with the reigning national champions, but Ohio State just gets by the upset. 42-35, and Julian Sayin had no problem passing the ball out there. 433 yards, 6 touchdowns, and barely an incomplete pass on the day. And it was his legs that polished off the game. A late touchdown gave him the lead, and a few rushes there late ran out the clock. Ohio State with a win week 1, but an impressive battle coming from Kent State. But in our first big test of this season, I'm pretty happy with where the offense is. Defense, not a great showing. Now, obviously, we know the defensive pass game is still a work in progress. We are not to the same level as Ohio State in terms of what receivers they brought to the table. But I still think we could do a far better job than giving up 433 passing yards. I would like to, disrupt a pass or two, and frankly, we really didn't. We take a look here at the attempts versus completions. We really did just have 2 incomplete passes for us. You're not going to win a game if you do that, especially when you are playing teams that are far higher than you in player caliber. And Ohio State still is. I would have liked to see some better run defense. Now, obviously, Ellington did get a little bit shaken up in this game, but still near 7 yards a carry for Hargreaves. Not even to mention Porter, and he really didn't even have to play that second half. 225 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. And that was against our best corner from the last couple of years, so not too promising when it came to Rollison's play today. Martin Cole, 99 yards. We did a decent job against some of the other guys, but we could still do a whole lot better. And a massive place of where we could do that is actually getting some pass rush. We did get 2 sacks today, but outside of those 2 plays, there really wasn't any pressure on the quarterback. And I do have to give some credit to Roy in his first start. He did get 4 TFLs, but we still need more from that defensive group as a whole. Whether we bring the blitz or we don't, we need to get some pressure from either the linebackers or the outside rush or the inside rush. But we do have a lot of credit to give to the offense. 276 yards and 3 touchdowns for Kelsey. That interception was a fluke. Shouldn't have happened. It did. That's the game. He was only sacked once, so, we had to scramble around. There were a couple other sacks that I think got called back due to penalties, so that helped us out. But the 58% complete still needs to improve. And in terms of the receiving game, outside of Hawkins, who had himself 204 yards and 2 touchdowns, no one else got going. A catch apiece for Harris, Smith, and Carrion. Luckily, that was a touchdown. That was also a swing out pass. The rushing game wasn't bad. Smith had some good plays. I think a lot of this game, though, is just going to be kind of harped on due to the defense. The offense played a great game. And there are no cupcake games for us this season. We had the bye in week 0. We have the bye in week 2. Now we're going to get onto a long stretch of the season. And that includes another Ohio team up next in Cincinnati, who did win their first game. But to conclude a long opening season episode, we will touch on the recruiting. As you could tell off the bat here, there are far less 4-stars than who initially showed interest in us. That is because other big-name schools started to go after them, so we pulled back. Now, Penn State, they did offer a scholarship. They're maybe giving 5 points here to Edward Hawk, but we are giving more. So we are making progress on these guys. My only concern with these 4-stars is if any of these other big schools who have offered scholarships put in any amount of points, we're going to be outmatched rather quick. So it would be great to get these done rather early. As for some of these 3-stars, which are now open for us to just go after however many we want, as we did get that prestige boost in the offseason, we are doing pretty well. There is a lot of push, though, from Maryland here and a lot of other schools for the safety hybrid in Derek Zyman. And there's good reason for it. He has solid speed for a safety, and he has both zone and man coverage. He's not a gem, but I really like the ratings. The tackling is at a good spot. He's one guy I would love to get, so hopefully we're going to find ourselves with some good pitches, and we have proximity to home as an A, with championship contender as a B. But if hometown hero is what he's looking for, that program tradition is not going to help us out. However, conference legend would be a lot better for us in terms of not being an F, D+ for conference prestige. And because that is slightly higher, that is where we're going to go, and we're going to hope that is the correct pitch. On top of it, we will tack in the DM player, just to try to push us over the edge of Maryland, or we might slip if in fact we did give the wrong offer. And as for the last few players, we are in a good spot. Recruiting has started well. We'll have a long recruiting season ahead of us, and hopefully we land our first 4-star this year. But that is where today's episode is going to come to a close. Let me know what you think. How did this season start off? Are you impressed even though we lost? How we played against Ohio State? How do you think we're going to do against Cincinnati? And make sure you don't miss it. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right or scroll down. Hit the sub button. And while you're down there, go ahead and do a few more things. Tap the bell icon so you're notified when all these other videos are ready. Hit a thumbs up as well for Coach Ty, a big showing on offense this week. And help out the small channel by also making sure you hype the video as well. I appreciate all your support on this series, as well as the New York Giants, who will kickstart their new season tomorrow. So make sure you're there for that. Next time, we've got the Bearcats, as we hope to get our first win of the season and prove we can take down Power 4 conference teams.